So why time is your most important business resource? I have on the screen the number 168. Who knows what 168 stands for? Anyone out there know?
Minutes in a day?
Not minutes in a day. It stands for how many hours in a week you have. We all have 168 hours in a week to work with. So if you're taking notes, I want you to write that number down, because one of the biggest things that we deal with time management is feeling like time is our enemy because we don't have enough of it, right? It's like, oh, I just need more time. How many times have we all said, I just need more time? Is it that or is it that we need to manage our time differently? So 168, when you think about 168 hours, that actually sounds like it's a lot to work with in a week. 168, 124 times 7, 168, because it almost feels like we have, 10 hours a week to work with. So that's what we're jumping off with. We have 100. Everybody has the same amount of hours to work with in a week. The person who has 2 jobs, the person who has 1 job, the person who's a stay-at-home, the person who travels, we all have the same amount of hours to work with. So why is it that some people look like they never skip a beat, even though they are doing so many things? In fact, their life is so tight, it looks like they're not doing anything. And then you get on the inside of their life and you realize, whoa, how do you make all of this work? 168 hours. And at the end of this, we're going to talk about some resources that can help you out. But we're also going to address this. What is time? What is time besides what we consider to be our enemy? When we talk about time, we usually say how much time we don't have. When we talk about time, it's about age and how old we're getting. A lot of times, our own context and approach to time is very negative. And so we don't want to deal with it. We don't want to deal with planning, don't want to deal with management. It's like, oh, I have to waste time planning. Like, we even think it's a waste of time to plan. And that's a problem. So there's the whole, conceptual definition of time. And then I love this definition. Time is to plan, schedule, or arrange when something should happen or be done. When you look up the definition of time, that's actually one of the things that comes up. Plan, schedule, or arrange when something should happen or be done. Time is also measure the time taken by a process or activity or a person doing it. So you can see here there are some very tangible aspects to time management. My life operates on a timing belt, whether I try to or not. It's like this thing is set in motion. But how does that happen? People will often ask me, how do you juggle what you do and not look crazy? Always come, together. You don't look like you just pulled yourself together in the car. How do you have your things? Now, am I saying everything is done on time? No, that's not anybody. But how do you pull it together? How do you land right on time? Wow, you have perfect timing. That's not magic at all. Being good at anything takes work. Being good at time management takes work. It takes a decision. How am I going to use my 168? How am I going to use every single day? In my executive attendant training program, we did a whole 2-hour lesson on planning and scheduling and how to set priorities. That is something that is taught. When I think about my life, I was raised by a mother who was a single mom when I was little, a brother 2 years older than me. So everything was about time management, packing your lunches the night before, getting your clothes ready, having that hair done on the weekends, bath time. Everything was on a schedule. And so in my mind, everything is on a schedule. Likewise, if you had the opposite, then it's may be challenging to harness time. But I chose these pictures. I love this, came with the PowerPoint, but this long, narrow hallway with a window at the end. To me, that is time. Time. Now, you can do a lot of things in that hallway. If we wanted to decorate the walls, we could. We could roll down a rug, have a runner, maybe put up a blind or a shade at the end of that, paint it, do all kinds of things. But guess what? We're not changing the shape. We're not changing the structure. So time management itself has lots and lots of options, lots of ways, lots of variables. What you do one day may not be what you do the next. How you handle one week may not be how you handle the other one. But in the end, time is moving in one direction, and that is forward. So these are some of the topics that Prophet Tala wanted us to discuss tonight and really get into it. So the first thing is how to identify poor time management. Oh, praise the Lord. And I have on here excuses, excuses, excuses. The first way to identify if you have poor time management is how many excuses you give when you are not ready. Now, when I say ready, ready could be walking out the door. It could be showing up to a meeting prepared or unprepared. It could be opening up the doors of your business, since this is a business session, opening up the doors of your business, meeting your deadlines, getting your marketing out there. If you have an excuse, if you have habitual excuses, you're going to hear this word habitual a lot because the point is to identify habits here. We're talking about habits. Everyone is late at some time. It happens. The goal is to not be late. The goal is to set yourself up to succeed at being on time. Because being on time is not an accident. Write that down. Being on time is not an accident. You have to plan for obstacles in order to plan to be on time. Just to be single-sided is not enough. It's kind of like when Dr. Price teaches us about that mirror argument, when you have the argument in the mirror and it's just you fighting, and then when you start fighting the actual person you were fighting in your mind, they come back at you and you're not prepared because you worked it out in your mind without them. Well, planning and time management, planning without thinking about obstacles is the same kind of thing, because when life jumps up and you haven't prepared for it, then all of a sudden you might want to have a meltdown. So how to identify poor time management? One, you never seem, and I have never in quotation marks, you never seem to have enough time. That's actually a time management issue. Now, that is separate from just really wanting to have more time, because I think we all do. Nobody likes being rushed. Nobody likes being crammed, having, in what we say, more to do than what the day can fit. And there are days where it's like, you know what, it's just not possible to hit these business goals. It's not possible to hit these targets. Either I am going to make calls to get new clients and send out emails and do follow-up, or I'm going to be in meetings across town. So there are times when you have to decide because of external time constraints, which is separate from knowing how to manage and allot those times. In fact, whenever you do your scheduling for business, and we do this in our company all the time, I see it, Dr. Tala and I, we do it a lot, where you say, I'm going to schedule all of my advisements on these 2 days. I'm going to schedule administration on these 2 days. Why? Because it's going to optimize and maximize your time, not just hours in a day, but your brain, because you have to know it takes this type of thinking to do this task. It takes this type of thinking to do this task, and it's going to be the most efficient, even mental efficiency, to stack things up that are similar in days or chunks of time. First half of the day, I'm going to do admin, like my day-to-day. First half, well, almost the whole day, really. I was in Tulsa Prophetic Training Institute. First half was the minute-by-minute. Second half was course development. And even like that kind of time management is beneficial. Another way to identify poor time management in business, constantly apologizing for being unprepared. That's actually can be a strong sign of poor time management. Something we don't necessarily think about Obviously, habitually running late, that's the obvious sign. But when you have to register how many times you apologize for not having it together in any area in your life. Habitually delayed, which is what we talked about. Again, the word habitual. It is routine. But if people can set their clock to how late you are going to be, then you have a time management issue. If they can come and let's just say you say, hey, you know what, I want to do this business thing with you. Their mind is going to register one of two things. Oh, yeah, I'll definitely meet with you. I'll drop everything to meet with you because I know you're not going to waste my time. How much time is this going to take? What are the goals and objectives? And sometimes they'll push back if they're not quite sure because they don't think you're sure. So that time management can show up that way, habitually staying up all night to meet deadlines. That's a time management issue because it's easy to say, this project is keeping me up all night. It's more challenging to say, I waited too late to start it in order to meet my deadline to the point where I wasn't killing myself to get it done. Hard reset, okay? This is something that I had to deal with myself probably about 3 years ago. I told my boss, I said, you know what? I'm putting on your calendar to start working on this thing right now. A month before you need it. 3 weeks. If it's only going to take you 5 days to do, I'm going to put it on your calendar to start 3 weeks early. So guess what? When it comes time to do it, you're not stressed out. You're not up all night. You're not looking crazy the next day. You're not even errors aren't going to be there. You don't leave yourself time to correct anything. And then we go back to the second bullet, constantly apologizing for errors. Why? Because you left yourself no time. You have to change your own language and take ownership of your time if you actually want to harness and master time. I had to, and I'm going to talk about myself because, you know, I can't really speak for anybody else, but I had to stop saying I didn't have time to review it and started saying I didn't leave enough time to review it. I actually did not set up a time frame that would produce an excellent product. I set up a time frame that would produce a rough draft, first round. How many times have we done that? Where we do things and we set it up and you realize you've left your time, no time. You left yourself no time. No time to proofread, no time to check punctuation, to check spelling, to do any of those things. But you have to take ownership. Habitually late for arrivals, submissions, presentations. We already talked about that. Okay, the benefits of time management is our second point that we're going to address tonight. The benefits of time management. In a seat of control when you have managed your time. Management means putting your hands on it, taking ownership, taking control. So when you manage your time, you sit in a seat of control. Well, what does that look like? Dr. Ashleigh, that looks like you have a deadline coming up in 3 weeks. You're looking at your calendar and you're mapping it out. Somebody asked you to go do something unexpected. You're in control because you're managing your time and you say, you know what, I can do that. Or you know what, no, I shouldn't do that because that's going to affect this, this, and this. Peace of mind. See, there are a lot of physical and psychological benefits. Whenever I'm managing my time, you know what, at the end of my day, I'm not stressed out, even if I'm tired. Now, I could be worn out, but not be stressed out because I have managed my time. And you have to tell yourself there's a difference. You can be very tired at the end of a day or end of a week, as you should be. Many of us have very long days, very full weeks that just run through the weekend, and it can seem like one thing goes into the next. But much of that is time management, not necessarily a demand on your schedule. There are times where I will, if I don't clear one Saturday, at least quarterly, I crash. Emotionally, I get surly, I get very unpleasant, I get snappy, I get whatever, because I'm fatigued to the point of no return. And so I started planning down days. I can't take a vacation every time I feel like I want one, but I can plan a down day. Sometimes it's a half a day. I try to make it a whole day where I just reboot and recover and come back. I was just able to do that. I'm thinking, we got to push through July. So I need to get it together now. This might be my last day. And you plan it. You say, you know what? I have to reschedule this today. You know what? And do you know why? Ladies on the phone, we are our best, richest resource. And oftentimes, we take care of ourselves the least. Burnout, rundown. Guess what? If you collapse, everything tied to you collapses with you. Write that down. Think about it later. Meditate on it. If you don't program your own self in your time management, you will collapse, and everything tied to you will collapse with you. Control and preemptive troubleshooting is another benefit of time management. Let's think about this in business. How many things, for example, we have regular staff meetings. We have meetings on Fridays. We have project meetings every other Monday. In those meetings, we have avoided so many tripwires, snafus, catastrophes, whoopses, scheduling conflicts, project conflicts, even quota conflicts in that time management, in that planning. So in your time management, you regain control. So we're talking about the seat of control, and then the control of your company and preemptive troubleshooting. Timely submissions, which we've talked about. Absence of chaos. Peace of mind, peaceful environments. When you think about your most favorite people to work with, I can almost promise you that when it all boils down to it, it's somebody who plans ahead. They always have it together, which means you have it together. No matter how busy anything is around you, there's no chaos. Man, we ran from sun up to sundown, but you know what? It was the most peaceful. It was fun. We had a good time. Man, we got a lot of stuff done. Wow. But that time management presented the absence of chaos when you manage your time. You will get a team of people in business to do just about anything for you when you walk and operate in peace. You cannot have a peaceful office environment without time management. It's just not possible because you're constantly reacting instead of being proactive. Resource conservation. You can serve resources, namely the human ones, but you can serve when you have time management. You're not wasting money. How many times? Okay, we all have business, so you know when you wait to the last minute, what are you paying for? Extra shipping fees, extra accelerated this, extra that to get it there on time because it was late being processed. That's just one example of how poor time management can financially cost you in business your bottom line. Whenever you're calculating profit and loss, I challenge you to look at your profit margin, see how, if it's too small, like smaller than what you want, or even if it isn't, see how much you racked up in late fees in paying bills, late fees in paying subscriptions, not having money in the account. It has to bounce through 3 times and you get charged extra fees for that. It's very costly in business to be poor in your timing in paying your subscriptions, paying your bills, paying your people, and anything else. Anything expedited is going to cost you more money. Anything. Even not managing what you have and what you don't have, paying for 3 things. I mean, we sat in staff meetings and Dr. Tala said, look, we're eliminating this, this, and this because I'm going through the books. We're not using this. We replace this with this. I'm canceling this out. We're shifting this money over here. All of those kind of business things you can do and stay in control of and actually get an accurate account and changing those numbers because of time management. Reputation protection is a benefit of time management. Reputation protection. When people know you are timely, and when I tell you that I have been schooled by my boss, especially in my earlier years, on being efficient in timeliness. Timeliness makes you efficient. When you're efficient, your reputation is stellar. When you're on time, people can set their clock. See, people set their clock to you one way or another, by you being on time or by you being late. You'll know by when you call a meeting if everybody's there or they're not. Because if they know you're going to be late, they're not going to be on time. I promise you. If I know I'm called into something, and whether it's in the city or a conference call with other people, and I know the person starting it is constantly, I'm not talking about every now and again, habitually late, you're not going to get your best out of people when you don't manage your time. Because they're going to think, well, my time doesn't matter to them because their time doesn't matter to them. It's a hard pill to swallow, but it's a real one nonetheless. And if you're, you know, and I can speak even to the ministerial side. You get in that ministerial vein, man, you can go and go and go and go. But what are your time frames? Our boss has taught us, Dr. Price has taught us, people won't invite you back because you blow your time, even if they love what you have to say. You have to register that. So your reputation, look at all these different ways that time management can benefit your business. Be the business who opens late all the time. See what happens. Be the business who opens on time all the time. See what happens. People answer that phone. There are times I'm going shopping places, and I'm like, you open at 10 o'clock, I'm in the parking lot at 9:55. When am I annoyed? When I see the person opening the store, walking toward the door. When it's time to open the door, you got to go in, you have to lock the door behind you, you have to turn on the lights, you have to open the register. I'm thinking, this is ridiculous. Reputation protection. Other people in business don't care about your personal issues, just like we don't care about theirs. And they shouldn't have to care. That's a really important thing to know about business, is they don't care about excuses. Your colleagues don't care about your excuses. Now, when I say not care, your colleagues care. They care about your life. You know, we care about each other's well-being in general, but not to the point where every day is the reason that we're late, that we're not managing our time. Mismanagement of your time is the mismanagement of your employees or your coworkers or your business partner's time. And it engenders trust in your leadership. That is another benefit of time management, engendering trust in your leadership. So you can see we're going everything from peace of mind to financial conservation to your reputation and image, all tied to time management. You don't even realize how it's a network that just kind of bleeds into a lot. Okay, so here's another point here. How to be more productive with time management is something else that's going to be addressed tonight. How to be more productive with time management. Well, the first thing is to work smart and hard. I understand the phrase, work smart, not hard. But I'm going to tell you it's going to take both. You are going to work hard. And if you work smartly about it, then you will see the fruit of your hard work sooner and probably in a better condition than if you were not. But I say work smart and hard, not abusing yourself, because when you have time management in place, you can say, I'm going to hit it hard for 3 or 4 hours and be done, instead of 6, 7, 8. You know, with time management, you can oftentimes cut a third, sometimes a quarter, a third of your time because you planned a route to get there. When I do my homework even, I'm like, okay, what's the best way to accomplish this? What should I work on first? What should I work on second? How should I accomplish this? And that can take all of 15 or 10 minutes to do, and then jump in it. So work smart and hard. Okay, whoops. Being more productive with time management allows you to prioritize your goals. That's how you become more productive, because you prioritize your goals. I just have to get all of this stuff done. Okay, well, let's prioritize your goals. You don't understand, it's all due. Yes, but it is probably not all due in the exact same moment of the day. Probably not. Even if it is the same day, even if it's the same week. But what do we really have to do to get there? Time management allows you to strategize financially. There are times when you want to make an investment in your company, but if you don't sit down to manage your time, meaning managing your projects, you might buy something too soon, and then you're wasting money because you're not using it because you don't need it yet. But when you sit down and do that time management and that timeliness management, because time management goes beyond your 9 to 5 schedule keeping, but your timeliness, where you can say, and we've done this in our company, okay, we want to buy this, but we don't need it for 6 months. However, we do need this and we do need this so that we will be ready for this at that time. Time management allows you to strategize financially. It allows you to set goals in your company. Every quality business person should be able to rattle off a 5-year goal. And with that, you should be able to rattle off how you intend to get there. Well, in 5 years, we want to be here. In 12 months, we need to be here. In 18 months, see, that's also time management in your company, setting your goals. Provides a foundation to regroup if plans fail or are shifted. That's how you can be more productive, strangely enough, with time management. Because if you sat down and you planned where you want to be at a certain time and how you're going to be there, if something happens, first of all, you're not wasting time realizing you're actually missing the mark. Sometimes you can waste months because you don't even realize you're not hitting it. You're not measuring it. Then you can say, hold on, we need to pause, we need to regroup, we need to reevaluate because we're losing our grip on time and reaching our goals. It allows you to set quotas and goals. That's how you can be more productive with time management. Set quotas and goals. You can't set a quota, you can't set a goal if you haven't set a timeline. And time management plus resource management equals greater opportunity for success. That's how you can be more productive in time management. You manage your time. With it, you manage your resources, and that produces greater opportunity for success. This season in our company, we're tight. We're tighter than we've ever been, and it's because we allot time to work through things, to save time in the end. Again, time is not your enemy. Time is not your enemy. You have to keep telling yourself that time is not my enemy. Deadlines are not my enemy. And allows for company expansion. Oh, no. So somebody wants you to do something because you have your time frame set up and you've managed how you're going to get there. You can say whether you want to take on an additional project, take on an additional client, take on additional resources. You know what? If we take this on right now, it's going to adjust our timeline. Now, that might be good, because it might open you up to other opportunities, or it might be a distraction. Again, time management, it bleeds into a whole lot of things beyond, okay, at 8 o'clock I have a meeting. And this is typically, people kind of fail at time management because they think scheduling alone. Time management is beyond schedules. As we identified, 9 to 5. Well, I mean, I did my schedule. Yes, but it's bigger than that. Okay, so we're rounding out, we're closing out here on tips and tools for effective time management. We want you to walk away with knowing, what do I do with this information and how can I implement something? Okay, so you can repeat after me. You don't have to take your phone off of mute, but you can repeat after me. Time is my friend and not my enemy. Time is a resource and not a punishment. You have to say those things. Time is my friend and not my enemy. Time is a resource and not a punishment. I look at time as a friend. Time is my friend. Dr. Ashleigh, how are you on time? It is my friend. I can't look at my alarm clock as the enemy of my day. I'm already starting mad. I'm already angry that I'm up. No. I have to determine what's the most important thing. Arriving at work on time, to set a precedent, or running late for whatever, being at the meeting, planning the event. Oh, you have to have in your mind, time is my friend and not my enemy. Time is a resource and not a punishment. I don't have enough time. Sure you do. Now, you may not want to use your time a certain way, but you do have enough time. Accept that time must be managed and not simply reacted to. Yeah, it's a hard reset. Time must be managed, which means every single day of your life, you need to manage your time. Every day. Think about if you had a pet and you didn't manage your pet, what would happen? A mess, literally, all over your floor. If you have a child and you don't manage your kid for one day, what is going to happen? And that's what happens with your time management when you don't manage it every day. Well, I set it up in the beginning of the week, and do you just wash your child once a week? Well, I mean, I washed you on Monday. I don't know why you need a bath on Tuesday. Well, I mean, I put my dishes, I washed the dishes on Tuesday. I don't know why they need to be done again on Thursday. Right. Except that time must be respected. You got to respect time. You do. It's not your enemy, but it will punish you. You know, it's not a punishment, but it can be a punisher if you don't respect it. Plan, plan, plan. This is what you have to do in order to be successful, and utilize calendars and apps. Here are two apps that I like to use. Wunderlist, and I use this with my team, W-U-N-D-E-R, not O, Wunderlist, L-I-S-T, and Color Note. Those are two apps that I use. Wunderlist is great. You can invite people to other tasks if you need to. You can set up a task, a reminder. You know, you get the push notifications. There are many things out there, but I really, really like that one. You can set it up on your desktop as well as on your phone, and it will sync up immediately and really keep you on point. I like it because I manage a team that is just growing all the time. And so when my boss says something to me for someone else or for myself, I can just add it in that moment to the task. They get notified immediately. The reminder can be set. And you know what? If we never have a conversation, if I don't remember to tell PIT Norma, Dr. Price said, you know, hey, we want to set up the back patio, boom, the notification is there. Time management. She can begin to work on it immediately. So there isn't even maybe a 1 or 2 day delay because I forgot to tell you, I forgot to send you. So that's another way that you can manage time better in your business. And these things can be used with your family as well. So if you're juggling family, business, you can set everybody up on the same apps. And say, okay, this is the task thing. So instead of making, and the reason I like the task management even more than text messaging is texts get buried. You text somebody, somebody else texted them, somebody else texted them. By the time they get back around to it, it's been 1 hour later, they could have 10 text messages and it's gone. And then our response is, well, I sent you a text, you and 20 other people, honestly. You know, in today's day and age. So even those kind of things are not as reliable. I mean, sometimes I'll send a text and say, hey, check your task management. I just sent you a few things. Got it. Even the Wunderlist, you can respond with comments in the task. So it saves you even in that area. But I do want to encourage you to not always, if you have someone that you are managing a lot with tasks in your company, choose an app that everybody can use, and that will manage your time very efficiently. Color Note. I use Color Note for spontaneous notes and instructions from my boss. It's versatile a little bit, where one note, you can do it as notes. You can choose the option as a checklist. So very simple. It's not robust at all. There are very few options, but it's quick and easy. Okay, so how to turn over a new leaf. This is the last point we're going to talk about tonight. How do you do it? How do you do it? 1, ask yourself, how will I use my 168 hours? 2, determine how you will manage your life by managing your time. I remember once I was driving and fussing, and I said to the Lord, man, All I do is work and go home, work and go home. He said, just because all you do is work and go home. You need to plan to have fun. You need to plan to mentally deflate, to do other things. I was like, oh, right. I can put everything in my schedule. So determine how you will manage your life by managing your time. Sit down and write down or type, if you like to type, everything. You see that's in caps, everything you have to accomplish in a day and a week. Yes, everything. When you are first starting out, the hardest thing to do, I mean, the thing that you think is just going to take you out is to look at your whole life on paper. Oh, I just don't want. So many people, and I know because I've trained them, so many people are afraid to look at their whole life on paper. They think that seeing it in one place means that it's just going to consume them, when in fact the opposite is true. Not seeing it is what is jeopardizing your ability to really conquer it. So from what time, and you don't necessarily, I don't think you should put time frames in the beginning, just list. Get up, for prayer. Get up on time for work, especially if you go back to sleep after prayer. See, that's the danger zone right there. Right there is the danger zone. And then however you get ready in the morning, take a shower, get dressed, hair, makeup if that's your routine, jewelry, perfume, shoes, laptop, computer, out the door, grab breakfast in the refrigerator, drive to work, stop and get coffee, put it all in there. And then you will be able to determine, first of all, you'll be able to see your life, and then begin to schedule it out and see if you are actually optimizing your time. Be flexible and open to constant modifications and changes. That is really, really, really important, because you will be three kinds of angry when your plans change. Oh, I just sat here and planned this whole thing, and now plans change. Yes, because that's life. What planning does is it gives you a return point. So because your plans change, you probably still have to do that task or whatever was on your schedule, but now you can say, okay, I just need to reschedule this, and then I'll come back to it. But be flexible, and I say this laughing because I'm probably the most inflexible person I know. Flexibility in this is just not who I really am by nature, but I do understand that life is fluid. It's fluid, and you have to still plan and manage your time, so when those ebbs and flows of life come, your whole entire life isn't thrown off. And so this is the last thing I want to show you. This is Laura. Well, this is not Laura. This is her book cover, Laura Vanderkam. She is an author. She's a young author, a mother with young children, married, entrepreneur, and she has written many books about time management. I know how she does it. 168 hours. This is where I got 168 hours from. You have more time than you think. What the most successful people do before breakfast. Off the clock, feel less busy while getting more done. I know she wrote a book, What the Most Successful People Do on the Weekend. And she has another new one that came out. I like her books because they're very practical and they're to the point, because you know what? Her book is about time management. You know what she knows? She don't have a lot of time. So I don't have time to read a 300-page book on time management, because I'm trying to get through this so I can manage my time. I encourage all of you to do it. She writes towards women in some of her books as well, and is very, very honest and frontal about running your home and running your business and running your life. And I get some of hers on audio because I like listening to it too. And she said in one of her books that she had a woman in corporate America who was quitting her executive job because her husband wasn't happy, because she was putting in all these hours and she was doing whatever. And she told her, she said, you know what, if you want to quit your job, just say you want to quit your job. Don't blame your mismanagement of time on that. Your husband isn't happy because you're not managing your home life. Your children are upset because you're not managing your home life, not because you're putting in a lot of hours here. I thought, how interesting. Her books are good because she is a high-level executive and has moved with some very powerful people and sets expectations for what powerful people do, the hours they do and actually don't put in. because many of them don't put in all those obscenely ridiculous hours all the time. Now, there are times when you have to push, but it's about management, managing your time. And so I highly recommend that you get her books. All right, thank you very much. And any questions? Anyone?
I don't have a question, but I have more of a comment. This actually was very helpful because I am really dealing with my time management. So I appreciate the tips that you came on and gave us.
Well, you are welcome. Time management can be a labyrinth, and it can actually be very overwhelming, especially when you are beginning to get your life together. I tell you, I do recommend, partnering up with somebody, whether it's a friend or whatever. I mean, this is a service that I offer, but with somebody in your life who can be objective. I will say we are so emotionally hardwired to what we're doing that it's challenging, I will say, to separate
women. It's an exciting opportunity to get some business development. You have the slide there on the site. You can visit the site, www.winningwomensnetwork.com. That's winningwomensnetwork.com. As you can see, we have a variety of options for you to choose from. But our network is a development network. Just one, as you can see by Apostle Ashleigh's presentation today. We're about development, and our goal is to produce a product. So we don't want to just kind of bring people together to share, to talk tips, to exchange information, and to do the traditional networking piece. Our goal is to try to help you reach your goal and to make you an active participant in the production of your own success, because success requires you to produce something. You need to have a product for it to work from. So we want to help you get there and to be able to form that product, starting with the resources in your own soul and pulling that out of you to create a resource that can benefit the world and prosper and profit your life. So I want to go ahead and invite you guys, if you're not a member, to go ahead. Sign up today. You get a 60-minute business consultation with myself and our team, and we will help to establish your business goals and direction for where you want to go. But our goal is to produce a product. So we're not just going to give you information. We want you to become the evidence of this. So I want to thank you again for joining us tonight. Again, you can visit our website at www.womensnetwork.com. God bless you all. Thank you for being with us tonight. And again, I want to thank our special guest for joining us for this edition as well. God bless you all. Have a great evening.
Good night.